You didn't come here for comfort. You came here because something inside you refuses to be average. This is not a motivational video. This is a mental reprogramming. What you're about to hear isn't advice, it's confrontation. A confrontation with every excuse, every hesitation, every soft lie you've told yourself to stay small. You want to rise? Then prepare to bleed. Not with fists, but with focus. The world doesn't care about how you feel. It only respects what you become. And you don't become something powerful by scrolling, hoping, or talking. You become it by mastering your mind. That's where the real fight happens, before the bell rings, before the spotlight, before the noise. Mike Tyson didn't just punch harder, he thought harder, he trained harder, he suffered with a purpose. While others wanted attention, he wanted control. Control over the fear, control over the voice that says, "Slow down, rest now. It's too much." That voice lives in all of us. But in Tyson, it's starved. You're not here to survive. You're here to command. Command your energy. Command your focus. Command your identity. Because if your mind breaks, your body follows. If your mind hesitates, your progress stalls. If your mind seeks comfort, your potential dies. But if your mind is disciplined, your fists, your steps, your path, they all obey. This is not about fighting in the ring. It's about fighting for your life before anyone sees you. Fighting for self-respect when nobody's clapping. Fighting to be the version of yourself that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't fade when it gets hard. So if you're tired of waiting, tired of wondering, tired of feeling like less, good. Because that means you're ready. Ready to hear the truth. Ready to break the old patterns. Ready to outgrow the man you were yesterday. Mind over fist. Focus over fear. Identity over everything. I train with purpose. I think like a weapon. Before he ever stepped into the ring, Mike Tyson was already fighting. Not with gloves, with thoughts, with voices, with the fire inside his chest that wouldn't let him quit. That's what most people never understand. Champions are not born in the spotlight. They're born in silence, in suffering, in the brutal solitude of mental warfare. Tyson didn't become the most feared fighter because he wanted to win. He became it because he couldn't tolerate losing to himself. You want to win? Learn to fight the hesitation. Learn to stare doubt in the face and not blink. Learn to control the only weapon that really matters, your mind. Tyson was trained by Cus D'Amato, not just to throw punches, but to think like a predator. Cus used to say, "The hero and the coward feel the same thing. It's what they do with it that makes them different." Tyson didn't run from fear. He weaponized it. He turned every ounce of insecurity into fuel. Most people lose before the battle begins because they fold mentally. They talk themselves out of the mission. They overthink. They get soft. But not Tyson. Tyson trained his mind like he trained his body. Relentlessly, violently, without compromise. While others looked for balance, he looked for obsession. While others wanted applause, he wanted edge. He didn't hope to win. He prepared to dominate. He rehearsed pain in his imagination. He pictured his opponent breaking before the first round. He visualized his fists landing before they left his shoulder. That's not luck. That's mental warfare. That's what you need. If you're serious about becoming something greater, you need to adopt a fight mentality. That means you wake up and make war against your own laziness. You make war against distractions, against softness, against that little voice that says, "You've done enough. You haven't done enough. You've barely started." Tyson trained in the dark because he knew the light would test him. He trained when no one was watching because he knew that's when identity is formed. Discipline is born when there's no reward, no camera, no crowd, just you and the mirror. And here's the truth. Your worst enemy is not out there. It's not the competition. It's not the economy. It's not your past. It's the man in the mirror who makes excuses, the one who hits snooze, the one who rationalizes failure. You've got to beat him first, every morning, every night. Fighters like Tyson didn't flinch because their minds were already forged in fire. Every punch was backed by hours of mental training. Every step into the ring was earned by thousands of silent, painful, disciplined repetitions. You can't just train your body. You have to train your will. You have to break yourself down and rebuild something stronger, something untouchable. Fight mentality means you don't negotiate with weakness. You don't reason with fear. You don't wait for motivation. You command yourself. You move anyway. You strike anyway. You show up anyway. And the deeper you go into that mindset, the less you care about what people think, because they don't see the war you're fighting. They don't know the pain you swallow in silence. They don't feel the pressure you carry. But you do, and you keep going. You learn to breathe in discomfort, to stand tall in adversity, to smile when it hurts. That's what fighters do. They don't chase comfort. They chase sharpness, precision, mastery. Tyson wasn't just a fighter. He was a storm, unstoppable, calculated, cold. But that storm began in the mind. Every drop of sweat was a declaration. Every bruise a signature of focus. This is what separates you. Not talent, not luck, not applause. Mentality. You train your mind to suffer with purpose, and suddenly the world can't break you. You don't flinch, you don't wait, you don't ask. I command my mind. I strike with intention. There's a version of you that talks soft. That version wants comfort, not greatness. It wants validation, not transformation. It wants the prize, but not the process. That version of you is the enemy. It doesn't live out there. It lives in here. And until you kill it, nothing changes. Tyson knew this. He didn't just train to beat opponents. He trained to beat the version of himself that wanted to stay broken. The scared boy. The insecure kid. The quitter. That voice was loud once, but he didn't negotiate with it. He silenced it with work. You've got a war inside you right now. One part of you wants to rise. The other wants to stay hidden. One wants to build. The other wants to scroll. One wants to fight. The other wants to fold. Only one of them can survive. People ask, how did Tyson become a beast? How did he walk into the ring like a storm? It wasn't just talent. It was inner war. Every rep, every round, every run, it was him choosing to feed the killer, not the coward. Because here's the truth most people can't face. If you don't confront your weak self, he will sabotage you every time. You'll show up, but not fully. You'll speak, but without power. You'll train, but without hunger. The weak version doesn't need to scream. He whispers, he waits. He tells you to take it easy just for today. He tells you you're doing better than most. He tells you you deserve a break. But Tyson didn't listen to that voice. He buried it under discipline. He buried it under routine. He buried it under pain. There's a moment when the war becomes visible. You wake up, and everything inside says, stay down. Your body aches. Your mind protests. That's the war. That's where men are made. Because it's easy to move when you feel good. But who are you when you don't? Who are you when no one is watching? Tyson trained for those moments. Not the highlight reels. Not the interviews. He trained for the dark, quiet, lonely spaces where identity is tested. You have to do the same. You have to look that weak version in the eye and say, you're done. Not once. Every day. Every hour. That's how the real version rises. Not by chance. Not by hype. By war. This isn't a transformation you post. This isn't a glow-up. This is demolition. You tear down the man who plays small. You silence the man who needs applause. You eliminate the man who doubts. You want to walk like a champion? Kill the hesitation inside. Kill the excuses. Kill the narrative that says you're not enough. Tyson didn't win because he had no fear. He won because he moved through it. He embraced the voices and kept going. That's the real war. Moving forward when your entire body says stop. There's a beast in you, but you've kept it sedated with distraction, with entertainment, with laziness. It's not dead. It's waiting. It's buried under all the things you do to avoid the work. You want to wake it up? Start saying no. No to comfort. No to the snooze button. No to passive living. No to the weak man in the mirror. Because the moment you stop entertaining weakness, power starts rising. You feel it. Not fake motivation, fire. And once that fire lights, you protect it. You feed it. You become it. This war will never stop. Not for a day. That's the truth. And that's your edge. Because while others look for peace, you prepare for battle. While they seek balance, you seek domination. Tyson didn't ask for less pressure. He built stronger shoulders. You must do the same. You must become so focused, so sharp, so disciplined that your inner enemy runs out of space to breathe. Because in the end, only one version of you walks out of this alive. I killed my weakness. I forged my will. The man I was is gone. I walk as the weapon. You don't become dangerous in the spotlight. You become dangerous in the dark, when the room is silent, when the phone is off, when nobody's clapping, and the mirror is the only one watching. That's where real men are made, in isolation. Mike Tyson wasn't sculpted under the lights. He was forged in sweat, in repetition, in brutal solitude. You think greatness comes from exposure. No, it comes from exile, voluntary exile. A decision to walk away from distraction, from noise, from weak environments. Isolation is where weakness dies and discipline is born. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not shareable, but it's real. And if you can't stand being alone with your goals, you'll never stand tall in front of the world. Tyson knew this. That's why he trained like an animal behind closed doors. No selfies, no music, just breath, pain, and repetition, over and over again. He didn't train to be seen, he trained to be ready. That's the mindset. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You don't need feedback. You need silence. You need the grind. Isolation isn't punishment, it's purification. It strips away what's fake. It reveals what's true. It shows you who you really are when no one is watching. Can you suffer in silence? Can you work without validation? Can you push without praise? Most can't. They need an audience to feel alive. They need likes to feel worthy. But warriors are different. Warriors walk into silence and come out sharpened. They train in the dark so they can dominate in the light. Tyson wasn't the best because he had more. He became the best because he needed less. Less noise, less approval, less outside energy. He built his empire inside his head, brick by brick, while others were looking for shortcuts. You want clarity? Step into isolation. You want strength? Remove comfort. You want mastery? Eliminate noise. Because everything you say you want lives on the other side of solitude, the body you want, the power you crave, the respect you seek. They don't come when you're distracted. They come when you disappear into the grind. That's the part nobody wants. The days where your mind tells you to quit and there's no one to stop you. The mornings when discipline is the only voice that speaks. The nights when the work feels pointless, but you do it anyway. That's when your identity gets carved. Not by the world, by your actions when nobody's looking. You can't fake that. You can't outsource that. You've got to live it. Every rep, every round, every lonely hour. You've got to become the man who finds peace in the routine, peace in the pain, peace in the repetition. Because repetition is the language of mastery. Tyson repeated until there was no hesitation, until movement became instinct, until pain felt like home. That's what made him terrifying. Not the punches, the preparation, the silence he trained in, the control he built. You're not here to impress. You're here to install a mindset so deep that no storm outside can shake the storm within. So choose isolation. Embrace it. Walk into the dark on purpose. Build your foundation in the silence. Not for the world to see, for you to become. You don't need motivation. You need separation. You need distance from everything that's soft, easy, and average. You need time alone with your demons, with your doubts, with your goals. And in that silence, you'll hear it. Not noise, clarity. The voice of the man you're meant to be. He's waiting there. He's watching. He's sharpening. And once you find him, once you become him, you never go back. Because the man who trains in silence walks with a roar. I disappear to rise. I suffer in silence to conquer in public. No applause, no noise. Just me, the work, and the fire I carry. You're going to fall. That's guaranteed. Life doesn't care how strong you look. It tests how strong you are. And when you hit the floor, not if, but when, that's when your real character shows up. That's when your comeback begins. Mike Tyson fell, hard, publicly, brutally. He lost fights, he lost money, he lost his way, but he never lost the code of the comeback, the unshakable belief that no matter how deep you sink, you can rise. But not by accident, not by hoping, by decision, by action. Most people think a comeback is magic. It's not. It's math. You stack one disciplined action on top of another, day after day, in silence, in pain, while no one believes in you, not even you. Tyson didn't rebuild with fame. He rebuilt with sweat, with blood, with grit. He knew what it was like to be the king. He also knew what it felt like to be humiliated. But that's the secret. The pain didn't break him. It woke him up. You want to rise again? Then respect the fall. Respect what it taught you. The humiliation, the betrayal, the loss. That's your new foundation. Because a comeback isn't a return to who you were. It's the rebirth of who you were meant to be. Nobody claps during the comeback. They watch, they whisper, they doubt. Let them. You're not coming back for them. You're coming back for vengeance, not against others, but against your old self, your old habits, your old weakness, your old patterns. All of them need to die for the new version of you to live. Tyson knew the streets. He knew pain before the fame. So when life hit him, he didn't break. He remembered. He remembered who he really was when nobody gave him anything. And that's where you begin. Not with hype, with memory, with truth, with the part of you that doesn't accept defeat, the part of you that sees the dirt and chooses to stand anyway. This is the comeback code. You don't need applause. You don't need understanding. You don't need sympathy. You need discipline. You need grit. You need daily war. Because comebacks aren't loud at the start. They're quiet, painfully quiet, like a storm gathering under the skin. But when they hit, they change everything. Tyson returned not because it was easy, but because staying down felt like death. He knew what he was born to be. He knew what was still inside him. So do you. You haven't seen your final form. You haven't touched your peak. You haven't even scratched the surface of what's possible. But you won't find it in comfort. You'll find it in discipline, in saying no to who you were, in choosing the grind over the escape. You'll find it when you take responsibility. Not blame, responsibility. That's what Tyson did. No excuses, no denial, just work. Because the moment you take full ownership of your failure, you unlock the door to your future. You want to be feared again? Start with routine. You want to earn respect again? Start with repetition. You want to feel powerful again? Start with pain. The world respects the man who rebuilds in silence, who rises without announcement, who sharpens while the rest scroll. Tyson didn't ask the world for a second chance. He took it. One day, one rep, one silent session at a time. And when the time came, when the lights hit, when the cameras rolled, when the bell rang, he didn't come back as the old Mike. He came back as a weapon. That's your code. Fall with grace. Rise with fire. Let the world sleep on you. Just don't sleep on yourself. The comeback isn't for applause. It's for legacy. I rise from ruin. I rebuild in silence. My scars aren't weakness. They're blueprints. The beast isn't born in the big moments. He's built in the small ones, repeated, sharpened, endured. Day after day, ritual after ritual, in silence, in discomfort, without applause, without shortcuts. Mike Tyson didn't wait for motivation. He didn't ask his feelings for permission. He woke up and executed, every single day. Because beasts don't rise on accident. They rise through ritual. You want power? Build habits. You want control? Own your mornings. You want respect? Win the hours nobody sees. Tyson's day didn't start when the world woke up. It started in the dark, early, cold, isolated. While others slept, he ran. While others hit snooze, he hit the road. That's not talent, that's commitment. The routine was brutal, but that's what made it beautiful. 4 a.m. Road work, shadowboxing in silence, mental rehearsals, visualizing domination before it happened. That's where identity gets installed. Not with dreams, with discipline, with doing it again and again until the work becomes part of you. You don't train once, you train until it's automatic, until it's in your bones, until your body responds faster than your doubt. Beasts don't rely on mood, they rely on structure. Wake, work, reflect, repeat. Every day. No gaps, no soft days, no off switch. Tyson didn't just train for fights, he trained to stay ready. Ready in the body, ready in the mind, ready in the soul. That's the mindset. You don't wait for pressure. You become pressure. You don't chase the peak. You build the base, brick by brick, rep by rep. You visualize, you affirm, you suffer on purpose. That's not obsession, that's ownership. He used repetition as religion, ritual as revelation. The same road, the same gloves, the same pain turned into mastery. Because greatness isn't about doing a lot. It's about doing the same thing with intention, precision, and purpose until you break through. Every day you don't train, someone else does. Every day you skip the ritual, the old version of you creeps back in, and he's waiting, always. You beat him by staying faithful to the process. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient, every time. The ritual doesn't lie, it exposes. If you're weak, it reveals it. If you're soft, it magnifies it. But if you're serious, if you're real, it refines you. Tyson's ritual didn't just build his body, it shaped his soul. It gave him something no one could take, control. Control over emotions, control over fear, control over identity. You want that? Then stop treating the routine like a burden. Start treating it like your birthright. You're not just lifting weights, you're lifting your standards. You're not just running miles, you're escaping the old you. You're not just repeating reps. You're repeating who you choose to become. The ritual isn't the hard part, remembering why is. But when you stay connected to the purpose, when you remind yourself of who you are and what you're building, the pain becomes sacred. And that's the difference. Most people train to look strong. Warriors train to be unbreakable. There's a quiet power in doing the same thing every day without complaint, without noise, without validation. Because the man who trains in silence doesn't need to prove anything. He knows. He feels it in his chest, in his spine, in his fists. This is who I am. This is what I do. No negotiation, no doubt, no exit plan. You want to be dangerous? Build a life so disciplined that weakness has nowhere to hide. Build rituals so strong that your future has no choice but to respect you. Build repetition so sharp that even your demons grow tired of chasing you. I don't skip steps, I sharpen them. My discipline is my prayer. My ritual is my rise. You made it here. And that means one thing. The old you didn't. He couldn't survive this. He flinched. He stalled. He faded. But you stayed. You listened. You endured. That alone tells me everything I need to know about the man you're becoming. This wasn't motivation. It was transformation. You've been reminded of who you are. Or more accurately, who you've always been underneath the noise. You are not ordinary. You are not soft. You are not here to be tolerated. You are built for precision, for repetition, for power under pressure. You don't bend, you don't beg, you become. Mike Tyson's fists were weapons, but his mind was the trigger, and now you've got that same blueprint in your hands. What are you going to do with it? You're not the same. Your habits aren't the same. Your tolerance for weakness isn't the same. You don't think like them. You don't move like them. You don't belong with them. From this moment on, you carry a different standard. You wake up with urgency. You train with conviction. You speak with clarity. You walk like your future already belongs to you, because it does. This world respects the man who doesn't ask for permission. It fears the man who suffers in silence, sharpens in isolation, and returns without warning. You are that man now, not because you said it, because you lived it through every word, every pause, every image burned into your brain in the last few minutes. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You don't forget who you are. And if doubt tries to return, remind it who you've become. Remind it of the dark mornings, of the lonely nights, of the reps you did when no one believed. You are forged. You are focused. You are free. No more halfway. No more someday. No more shrinking to fit a life that doesn't reflect your discipline. From now on, your presence speaks before your mouth opens. Your routine commands before your words do. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be undeniable. Walk as the man who trains in silence and moves with purpose. Not once, always. I don't wait for the world. I train for it. I don't fear the storm. I am the storm. So what now? Are you going to scroll back to your old self or step into the ring as the man you were born to be?